Supporters and surrogates of Hillary Clinton are blaming Bernie Sanders for her current place in the polls against Donald Trump. These polls have indicated that the gap has closed, and in some polls, Donald Trump is leading Hillary Clinton in state polls and in national polls. In other polls, Hillary Clinton is leading, but only by a slim margin. But they're thinking that this is Bernie Sanders' fault because he is still in the race and he's still hitting her hard. They're saying that, okay, fine, you're still in the race, you haven't dropped out, but you need to kind of
so he's damaging her.
Yeah, he needs to pull back the rhetoric and kind of start to bring people together,
unite people.
Yes,
but what would he be uniting people with? That's the question. They don't answer that question.
They don't answer that
well,
question.
I mean, okay, if we're going to talk about polls, I mean, since the beginning of the primaries, the gap between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders has significantly lessened.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like the gap, the margin was pretty big.
So
who was at fault for that gap disappearing? You see what I'm saying?
Stop. It is not the weak candidacy of Hillary Clinton. She's not at fault for that, Mike. She's not at fault for that. But if she's not at fault for that, then why is Bernie Sanders at fault for the gap closing with her and Trump?
That was my point. Like,
it makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
No. So, yeah, Bernie Sanders has, of course, because he's still campaigning to be president of the United States. He's still campaigning to get the Democratic nomination. It's not over. She doesn't have the delegates yet.
He's supposed to lay down.
That's what they're saying.
He's supposed to lay down. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Lay down, then get back up.
To support
her.
So, a few days ago, he referred to voting for Trump and Clinton as voting for the lesser of two evils. And that, of course, caused a big uproar because they're like, oh my gosh, he's labeling her as like evil.
I think to us and Bernie Sanders supporters, that position is so uncontroversial.
No, because we knew exactly what he was talking about. Because Clinton's unfavorables are sky high. Trump's favorables are sky high. They're both extremely unliked. More unliked than I think any other frontrunner ever.
Yeah.
So that's what he's saying. He doesn't want the American people to have to vote for the lesser of two evils.
But her unfavorables are a product
of Bernie Sanders.
We have to understand that. See, I couldn't even complete that sentence.
Yeah, it's not because people don't trust her. And, it's none of that.
No, it's none of that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Also, Bernie Sanders is supporting Tim Canova. Now, Tim Canova is running for office. He's running for a congressional seat. Whose congressional seat? Debbie Wasserman Schultz in Florida, right? So he's her primary opponent, right? And I don't think she's really had a major primary opponent before.
Nope.
But Tim Canova's ideology lines up with Bernie Sanders. I mean, he's running basically on the same platform. But Bernie Sanders is backing Tim Canova. And so it's looked at as, not the thing to do because, Wasserman Schultz is the incumbent. You don't
challenge the incumbent.
Yeah. So Rachel Maddow.
I used to like her a lot, man.
I used to. Rachel Maddow, she had something to say about this situation on her program.
There's nothing that members of Congress hate more than a primary challenge from their own party. And Democrats supporting primary challengers to try to turf their own colleagues out of their congressional seats? I mean, that's not like putting a whoopee cushion on somebody's seat at a big important meeting, ha ha ha. That's like slashing somebody's tires in political terms. That's serious. You're a sitting Democratic member of Congress and you're going to support a primary challenge to another sitting Democratic member of Congress? That's the kind of thing that makes members of Congress mad.
Did you like that? Did you like that? That's the kind of thing that makes members of Congress mad. You don't want to do that.
Oh. You know what? See, she is smart enough to find a better description for what's going on
Yep.
with that whole situation with Bernie Sanders' endorsement and financial support of Tim Canova.
Right.
There is a better description. And to call it slashing the tires suggests that's because when you slash the tires, if I'm racing you
Yeah.
and I slash your tires, that's cheating.
Right. And it's kind of like, yeah, well, yeah, like you said, it's cheating. It's personal.
It's personal.
You're just doing it to like poke somebody
in the eye.
Yeah.
It's
just
like,
trying to get at them.
Like,
It's
you're not going to go anywhere.
Right.
What?
Yeah. And is that why he is backing Tim Canova?
No, it's not personal. It's principled. It's political.
Exactly. How would it look? And I am posing this question to everybody out there watching this. How would it look if Bernie Sanders was to publicly say and state his support for one Debbie Wasserman Schultz? How would you take that information?
That wouldn't even make sense. You know what? You know what's so funny about that? If he did, they'd be calling him out for his lack of principles and his hypocrisy.
Yes, they would. What they're doing, what they're trying to set up this whole situation to be, is that if Hillary Clinton is the nominee and she goes up against Trump and she loses, guess whose fault it is?
Guess whose fault it is?
It's not the weak candidacy of Hillary Clinton. No, it's Bernie Sanders, because Bernie, why did you give Trump all this material? Yeah.
Like, what kind of... That's such a... I'm sorry, that's just such a dumb argument on the surface.
It is.
Like say, like you have, like, the SEC championship, right? And you got, like, Nick Saban going against a fellow SEC coach. And Nick Saban tells the other coach, hey, man, you know, we probably going to make it to the playoffs. You know, go easy on us because, you know, you don't want the team that we are going to eventually face to, you know, use some of the tactics that you did. You know, don't expose me.
Like, don't run the option
Don't
right.
run the option
because
right.
we're weak that way.
Dog. Don't run student body right. Please don't run that. You know how to upset my defense. Like, don't pass the ball on us.
Yeah.
You know, stop throwing grenades at our defense.
What sense would that make?
What sense would that make? How like, what kind of response would happen if he said that? He would be seen as weak.
Clown.
But
he would get
weak.
clowned.
He would get, yes.
And see, we've said it before. If Hillary Clinton was a stronger candidate, she could withstand these attacks, couldn't she? Because she could. But see, it's just that there's so many. There's such a long list. Like, I seriously lose the list. Like, there's sometimes I hear about something concerning Hillary Clinton. I'm like, damn, I forgot about that.
Well, again. The Democratic National Committee says they want to support the strongest candidate.
The strongest candidate can be, I guess you can kind of talk about it in different ways, because if you want to talk about polling, Bernie Sanders beats Donald Trump by wider margins, and it's like he always has.
Yes, always has. Yeah.
And if we're talking about presumptive attacks, right? I think Trump has a whole lot more to attack Hillary Clinton with than he does Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
Right? Way more.
But then again, like we said before, we're talking about a campaign and a political ideology that views, like, kind of corruption as normal. So when they say, you know, Hillary Clinton is the most qualified, what are they saying? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For, like, what is she
They're
qualified?
just saying it. They're just saying it.
What is she qualified for?
She's qualified to lead the corruption.
So, so basically, like, Hillary Clinton, in order to keep, like, the relationship between politicians and corporations solvent, she is the perfect candidate.
If we're talking about strongest candidate, right? Who is ultimately going to decide who wins the nomination? I mean, well, not who wins the nomination, but who wins the election. It's not going to be Democrats.
Independents.
It's not going to be Republicans.
Independents and moderates.
It's going to be independents and moderates. Who's the strongest candidate? Who's the strongest candidate with independents?
Wait a second. I don't know.
It ain't Clinton.
Oh, man, who is it then?
It ain't Clinton.